the the most important topic on the project management. So there are many things to be taken care of by a project manager, but I normally tell that it is the stakeholders who make or break the project. Now, if you can manage stakeholders well, your project may be smoother. If you cannot manage your stakeholder well, your you have a bumpy ride as such on the project. And many times, if we mismanage the project stakeholders, it becomes maybe very difficult to manage the project, or maybe project may not see the light of the day. Whatever you do, many times we think that if we do a best very good delivery, the stakeholders will be happy. That's a good parameter actually, but it is there. These two parameters are not tightly connected. It's not necessary that you do a very good delivery and stakeholders will be happy. In fact, if you do not do that good delivery, even then the stakeholders will be happy. That is quite possible. So happiness or lightness of the stakeholders is not very tightly connected with the deliveries. So when we look forward for making best out of best deliveries, at the same time, we have to manage the stakeholders. There are two different aspects and has to go in parallel together. We should never consider that if we do a very good delivery, stakeholders will be satisfied. I normally give one example to demonstrate this and to highlight this thing, that if you whenever you buy some groceries or buy some regular stuff of your household, you normally buy it from a one shopkeeper. You normally go again and again to the same shopkeeper, despite there are several similar shops around. Especially if you talk about groceries, there will be several shops around, but probably you will go to only one shop in general. If something is not there, you may be going to other shops, or if thing maybe sometimes it becomes, because you are returning from somewhere, it becomes convenient to go somewhere. Therefore, you go, but most of the time you will land up with one shopkeeper. Despite all are delivering the same thing, same object, same material, same grocery products, but you still you buy the things from one shop. And that is what highlights the need of building the relationship with the stakeholders. You have some kind of matching bandwidth with this shopkeeper. You're getting something which is not visible easily, that you not buy. There is no promise for that also. Shopkeeper, what the shopkeeper, the service the shopkeeper is giving, he has never promised that. You give the money and he give you the kind or the object or the item. He never promised you the service, the bandwidth which you are matching with him. But that is the critical criteria to stay with the shopkeeper. If you have a different, if the shopkeeper changes, some other persons come, and a similar thing, similar kind of service you don't get, you move to other shopkeeper to find that lost relationship. So the same is with all other projects. It's not about only delivering what the customer is ordered us. It's about how you deliver this to the customer. And when you how there are a lot of things around which is never demanded, which were never promised, but they are the critical criteria to stay with you or switch to other supplier or vendor in the next project. If you want to have a repeated business with the same customer, that's what it works. So do deliver the great quality products, but never forget that you have to deliver something which is never stated, nowhere written, nowhere promised, nowhere demanded, but is still the most critical, more critical than what you are delivering. That is what the everything hidden, everything is not, and nobody has defined it clearly also. Even I probably may not be sure about the clarity of this is going to evolve, but faster I evolve it, better I can manage my stakeholders, and better I manage the stakeholders, better the stakeholders going to stick with me. More they stick with me, more benefits, more profit, more money they will generate for. Everything goes around the stakeholders. If I cannot manage them, I cannot really, despite delivering a great quality product, they may or may not return to me. They may not stick to me. So this is what I'm going to discuss today. More, less procedural. I will continue focusing on less procedurals and more tactical, more human aspects, more things which are invisible but are important, most important. So let's start with, I will go with this agenda. That is, one is I will look at the definitions on the how, who is a stakeholder. I think most of us will be knowing, but I'm going to look at the little more tactical manner. Why to build relationship, right? How to identify stakeholders. This is one of the things I have seen many books actually. When it comes to identify stakeholders, actually we are discussing that how to analyze the stakeholders. There is no method, there is no tool, there is no technique which is provided to identify stakeholders. So I'm going to little focus on that, how to identify stakeholders also. Then how to analyze. I think a lot of discussions happen on this. So we'll not focus on that because many people may be aware about all these things, but still it's a part of the process. Then therefore it should be discussed. And then I will a little bit discuss on how to build relationship. Please mind, I'm not talking about how to manage your relation, how to manage a stakeholder, how to engage a stakeholder. I'm talking about how to build relationship with the stakeholders. In PMBOK or in PMI terminology, you will say that you manage the stakeholder by engaging them. So in a stakeholder management, all processes of stakeholder engagement. I and I have a little deviation from that. I say you manage a stakeholder by building relationship with them. Better relationship you build, better you manage them. Better they will going to say yes to you. Now, let's look at this. Who is a stakeholder? So I'm going to like to interact with you like other previous our webinars. So we do not really looking for webinars where the only speaker is speaking. So I have put up some thought here. I know there are some simple definitions, and very simple definition is who get impacted by the project or who can impact the project is called a stakeholder, right? But as I said, I'm going to be a little more tactical in this presentation or in this today's discussion. So I will not write that definition, though this definition is quite popular. I will say it does not have that kind of impact or understanding which this definition has. I look at the stakeholders, that who is dependent on project. That means if project goes good or bad, this person having a concern on that, because this person depends upon the project and the project outcome is going to significantly influence his future action. So this person think that he's dependent. Now, on the other side, I also look at that on whom the project is dependent. On whom the project is dependent. So I look at the stakeholders that either they are dependent on the project, or project depends upon them. Now, somebody can say it is same as they impact the project or they get impacted. Yeah, I think it is same actually. But I think sometimes words make difference, and the words make a change in the word, change the paradigm actually, and change the view, your viewpoint to look at. Now, when I say to on whom project is dependent, I'm saying that I have to take care of these people because the project is not going to happen because project is dependent on these people, right? And on the other side, I should be ready that these people who are dependent on project will keep poking their nose in my work. They have a concern, even if sometimes I feel why they are making some noise or why they are interfering in our matter. But if I put them in the category that they are dependent on project, I should be ready that they are going to concern about the outcome of the project, and therefore wherever uh, uh, there is a I will say degradation, or I will say there is a lower confidence. The confidence level goes down a little bit. These people will going to have concern and will going to bother me on a continuously till the time they get confidence that their future is safe. It's not about, they're not talking about the project. I'm not sure they are concerned about the project. They're concerned about their future. So if somebody is concerned about the future and future is dependent on something which I am doing, then definitely they will going to come and keep bothering me all around. Many time you say we have a fixed price project with the customer, and still customer keep looking at the more and more details from us, and we are annoyed why customer is asking for such questions with so many details when it is a fixed price project. Many times people do tell me, I say very simple, probably he's not getting the confidence that we're going to deliver things which he wants. If he is not getting the confidence, then he's going to poke his nose in our work actually. He will try to do what he think we should do and we are not doing. Or the only way to get rid of this thing is to help customer to get confidence, or do something which with the customer or any other stakeholder gain confidence. Same thing with the senior management. The senior management will keep asking more questions. If they keep asking more questions, if they're coming back to you again and again, you see the confidence level is going down. We have to do something to increase this confidence level, because they are concerned about, because their future depends upon this project. On the other side, I'm sure that as a project manager, I'm really concerned about the people on which who are actually making my project successful. This categorization will help, and I have to do this categorization in my project. I should look at this. I think we should bring this aspect also in when we are identifying the stakeholder, when we are analyzing the stakeholder, when we're planning for the stakeholders. There are many stakeholders around. In typical project, we have management, we have functional groups, we have experts, we have customers, team, vendors, things. We need to figure it out on whom we are dependent, on whom they are dependent. For example, I say simple. Suppose you want a machine actually, which is normally designed and developed by a very niche people, maybe one or two suppliers only. Now, if it is only a one supplier, then probably vendors are normally considered that they do not have much say in the project. But in this case, when it is only one supplier, probably I'm dependent on him. My project depends upon him. He doesn't depend on us, right? If he has enough customers and I need the machine, then he is the only supplier, or he is one of the very few suppliers, then actually with whomsoever I will sign the contract, I'm very much dependent upon this person. So I cannot consider this vendor as any other vendor. And in a typical way, the normally people like deal with the vendors cannot deal with this person. On the other side, if he also have few customers, then for him also, like, he depends upon us, because there are few orders only. He's a niche market. Only few people are there to develop, and only few people are there to buy. Then it's become a very close relationship. If you develop a close relationship with these people, then not only they will be having a sustainable business, but you have a very good friend in your vendors, in your suppliers, and going to support you in all your projects. And normally such niche products probably very critical for the projects, and if they are not come, whatever you do in the project will still not be called complete. On the other side, very simple supplier, you can replace him anytime. You can replace him anytime. There are 100 people to provide this. But every time you change the supplier, there is a cost you pay for it. Are you ready to pay that cost? If you're not ready to pay that cost of changing the supplier, then still we feel that somewhat we are dependent on each and every supplier, even if he is easily replaceable. In some circumstances, I will go ahead and replace, but there is a cost attached to it. So I think I will consider that there is some degree of dependency still there, and I manage these suppliers better, so that I need not to pay that price of changing the suppliers. Once you sign the contract, it's not always easy to change the supplier. It's not always easy. It's better that if it is a very common thing, and if you have a very good supplier with you, probably you don't even bother about it. If you have a good relationship with this person, then you need not to bother about on this side altogether. Just have to order him. Rest of the things he will take care. So you have completely worry less, if even if it is a very small thing, and supplier can be changed. So I'm talking about that because many manufacturing industries, construction industry, many industry, where a lot of suppliers are not being treated very well as such. Especially, I say, because we are not understanding their value actually, and that's why we keep facing a lot of problems also in the whole project. And we consider them, they are regular things for us. While these can be improved significantly. Now, that's fine. That okay. That's who is the supplier, who is the stakeholder. But the whole question comes: why to build relationship with the stakeholder? Is the building relationship with each and every stakeholder or with the stakeholders really so meaningful? I have to invest a lot of energy into this, or it is something like I can live even without that, or what kind of relationship? So I would like to hear from you some kind of your inputs, that what do you think, how important the building the relationship with the stakeholder is? Any of you, if you like to share your views with in the chat box, or maybe you would like to unmute and speak out.
Sir, it is important to build a relationship with stakeholders because you have to sustain yourself in the business.
Mm-hmm. So how this relationship normally helps?
The relationship will happen with the stakeholders with one-to-one communication or knowing the stakeholder better, and how much we are dependent on the stakeholders. That is also more important, basically.
Okay.
Wherein we will know that to build that relationship, where else what are the needs of the stakeholder, and what is our need basically with the stakeholder.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Hi, Amog, this side. So one of the aspect could be for future business growth, and maybe yeah, with same customer and the reference within customers organization. So across other projects. So that could be one aspect for building relationship.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
From the finance point of view, to provide the funds, stakeholders are important.
Finance point of view, the stakeholders are important. So yeah, absolutely right. See, stakeholders are important. My question is with respect to relationship, like developing relationship, how normally helps.
Hello, Sandeep here.
Yes.
So my understanding here is the most important part here is to have that understanding with the stakeholder. What is it? What is in it for the stakeholder? What goals or what purpose will the stakeholder achieve? What purpose will we or the project will achieve? So ultimately, everyone is trying to achieve something.
Hmm.
So having that understanding, what are the goals or what are the mutual goals?
Hmm.
If there is an understanding about that specific vision, direction, those goals, then one can work towards, okay, so let's work together to achieve these goals, achieve these mutual goals, and then you can start having more of a collaborative relationship with the
Okay.
stakeholder. That's what I feel. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great, Sandeep. Thank you. I think there will be some chat.
And Vivek, there are also a couple of comments in the chat section.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Need to know the
yeah,
requirements
so
and
all
get the.
stakeholders are important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In current situation,
In
these
current
are.
situation, these are your
Yeah.
go-to people.
But Vivek sir, the challenge I see is in any relationship, you need time. You
Hmm.
don't build it overnight. So
Right. Right.
investing in your stakeholder means you will have to invest in that relationship. That is very important.
True.
So that is the critical thing. Unless you know the stakeholder from the past, so always the first time engagement, you need time with them. Once you understand their likes, dislikes, that is what
Hmm.
you typically look for in your stakeholders. That is how you tune your developments and your deliverables accordingly.
True. 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 Very true. They will support you for achieving your project goal. That's true. Help in negotiations to make own position strong for successful project closure. That's right. The current situation, there are to go to people to support you. That's right. They add good goodwill to your project. Build relationship, help us get work done easily. That's right. In fact, that is the simplest statement, that building relationship will help us get the work done easily. uh, I think this one statement could be sufficient to build relationship. There are many so many reasons as such. But let me show you something which could be little interesting to understand, and some dynamics in the human behavior as such. Uh, Look at this actually. I normally try to explain this phenomena. Probably some people who are like listen to me earlier probably may know about this. So there is a resource manager which has one resource, and there are two project managers: the project manager one and the project manager two. Let's say PM1 and PM2. Both send a resource request to a resource manager, but resource manager has only one resource. He can give either to project manager one or to project manager two. Right now, this looks a common scenario which happens all the time, and the resource managers keep getting a lot of requests, and they fulfill these requests. Sometime some requests immediately, some requests maybe later. Now let's look at it. What happens? The project manager one is a very good friend of resource manager. They have a like a quite good um, go to people, and they keep going together, do many things together, right? Good friends. While the project manager two has never contacted resource manager. It's the first time he's talking to resource manager and with the resource request. Now my question is to that: the chances of this resource going to project manager one and project manager two, where the chances are higher, going to project manager one or project manager two?
Project manager one.
Project manager one. Okay.
The face value of the question is project manager 1, unless resource manager and project manager spoke and project manager already surrendered.
Okay, you want to like give some kind of threat to resource manager?
I mean, face value, first answer is project manager 1, definitely.
Okay. Now, I think what I'm doing, I'm saying that every other factor is neutralized, let's say, because other factors can also work. In that case, I say every other factor is same, equal for project manager 1 and project manager 2. So every other factor is, why I'm doing every other factor neutralized, because every other factor does not depend on PM1 and PM2. For example, the force of senior management. If they say resource manager to give it to project manager 2, they will give the project manager, but there is no quality of project manager 2 in this. There's nothing for project manager 2 to do. Or any other factor which is making resource manager provide the resources to project manager 2. Project manager is not influencing this decision actually, which I am trying to say. Here, the project manager 1 and project manager 2's relationship actually influencing the decision. That's what I'm trying to highlight, right? So look at this, the resource will go to project manager. Chances very high actually. So it can go to project manager 2 also. There could be circumstances, but chances of PM1 getting the resource is very, very high. But let me dilute this relationship a little bit. I will say the relationship is not of good friend, but they know each other. They have a coffee together sometime. And when sometime they meet, they do hello, hi, shake hand. And nowadays shaking hand is not allowed, but still probably they do greet each other. Okay. Even in the pandemic time, they keep calling on the phone to each other sometime. Okay. What do you think that the resource, where the resource will go, or where the chances of resource going to project manager 1 or project manager 2?
I would like to tell you here actually, very important thing is actually the resource person should do survey, right? And what type of manager he requires, right? That's main thing actually than anything else, right? And he has to do his homework, not the relationship does not matter anything. Okay, just continue.
You're absolutely right. But as I said, every other factor I have put as a neutral to project manager 1 and project manager 2. So both merits are equal. Let's say both are at merit, both need resource as such. And both projects are equal priority. So because otherwise we can have 100 factors and can keep discussing beyond the context. So I'm talking about the context. Context is stakeholder management, stakeholder relationship. And I'm talking about every other factor other than this factor is neutral to project manager 1 and project manager 2.
Ramesh here.
Yes.
Like in the context actually, if you build a relationship, then you have the comfort level of working together. So always the priority goes to the person who is having the comfort level for handling the project or for like working together. So resource manager will always have a clarity or a comfort level or the working level. Then it becomes more easy to attain the business or from the stakeholder.
So what do you think in this case, with whom he has a more comfort level?
No, it does not depend on the relationship actually. Please understand. See, one thing is very important actually. You see, a big project will be having so many components actually. One component you can do to project 1, project 2.
Ramaraju,
right?
Ramaraju,
That's a very important thing actually, right? But what is important, what you want to clear, and relationship is important. But all equal means, how can you define all equal?
All other parameters are neutralized here. No?
It is actually
Ramaraju ji, let me explain you one thing. Let me explain you. The question is very simple. And answer is yes, just to tell what do you think in these circumstances where the resource will go? If you are undecided, let it be. You can say, I am undecided. Some people are decided, they can say decided. I'm not looking for analyzing this. I'm just looking, this is a situation. I understand your thing that that the other things cannot be neutralized, but otherwise we cannot discuss a problem in isolation. We want to discuss a problem in isolation. Let me discuss this problem in isolation. So I'm going to isolate this whole situation from all other factors. So the question is very simple. You tell me that where the chances of resource going is more. If you are undecided, you can say I am undecided, I'm not sure. But the condition is only this, everything that is utilized, only this is the fact. So anybody else as such?
Yes, so there are a couple of responses. One is project manager 1.
Uh-huh.
And then one response is 60-40 chances. Project manager 1, 60%.
Yeah, 60% PM1 is 40% PM2. That's what it is. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other people like to? Yeah.
Zeta here. Since the project manager 1 and resource manager have relationship, resource manager already knows, we hope, that project manager informed the resource manager along conversations, along developing the relationship, that he needs or she needs resources.
Right.
If no relationship build, there is no communication other than perhaps very official emails or requests.
Right.
But that the relationship, meaning the information flow, has been already established and informed. Therefore, resource manager will reserve the resources for project manager 1, whether officially or mentally. She will reserve. So it's diminishing, whether it's official way or personal level, relationship level. Resource manager hasn't been informed.
Quite possible. What you're saying is quite possible that maybe there could be background conversations as such. Absolutely. But let me go dilute this relationship a little bit more, even more. So I want to dilute this relationship even more. I will say they don't have a relationship. They don't have like too much of conversation, but they know each other. They have seen each other. They sometimes maybe shake hand, but as such, there's no friendship or something you can say. So what do you think? Where the chances are high? It's still PM1.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other views?
Ramesh here again.
Yeah.
Knowing each other is building the relationship.
Sorry, say it again.
Knowing each other.
Yeah.
Is building the relationship.
Yeah, it's building, but it's diluted relationship. It's a very diluted relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a relationship because they know each other.
Yeah.
So you think chances are higher or for PM1? Is this what you're saying?
The chances are higher provided the knowing or the working is positive.
Let's consider that it is a positive actually. I agree with you. If it is negative, the chances of lower will be high. Okay.
So just knowing each other will not help us.
Yeah, I agree with you that if the perception is negative, probably knowing maybe the other side. But in this case, I think I'm talking about that they know each other means there is no negative impression as such.
So then the like PM1 is the chances higher.
Chances are higher. So what actually I'm trying to say here is that even the slightest relationship, even the slightest developing a little, even knowing each other has an influence on something happening on the ground. Just knowing each other. So developing a friendship is having a very, very greater impact. And even if even if you have if I go to the first option now, where they are good friends, even if many parameters may not be at parity, they may be tilted towards PM2, resource manager will try to make it for the PM2, PM1. He will put his effort to make it a PM1 until his whatever his influence is. Now, this is a little controversial thing, and that's what I want to discuss here. As I said, I'm going to be more technical, and in technical terms, there is nothing sure about it. It's all about playing ground. You miss a kick, you're going to be suffering for that. Okay, so it is all playing ground, and you have to be little careful about what you're doing. So building the relationship, having a friendship means resource manager put efforts, use his influence to give the resource to PM1, even if his case may be a little bit weak, not strongly weak. If it is a strongly weak, probably he will lose, but even a little weak, he will try to make it stronger as much he can do, but he may not be beyond his limitation, he will not be able to do. My thing here is that relationship make a lot of difference what you're doing. Many people tell me when I discuss this, that this is not fair. Yeah. Anybody has this kind of opinion that this is not fair? That
but building relationship also takes time actually. Friendship means actually strengths and weaknesses we know very clearly, right? And we can decide whether we should give or not.
Yeah.
But actually, an unknown person means actually the specialization and is a domain and all these things matters a lot. But it takes time to build up the relationship with the new person. Definitely, it takes time. Yeah. But the resource person has to decide what is important for him and how to go about it. Actually, right? That's
right.
what my opinion.
Right. Yes, Surya, you want to say something?
Yeah. So I just like to add, even if the person knew project manager one, hypothetically, whether it's a very strong relationship or a not so good one, the human resource manager should not allow the personal bias to get in. He should see according to the criticality of the project. And if you're not going to give a chance to project manager two, when are you going to build your network? That is my take.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right also. But let me tell you one thing. See, the thing is that there are two things. One is what should happen, and second is what happens. There is a big difference between that. If you look at the ground, things are not happening what they should happen. Why it is happening? Because the people are predominantly biased. Considering an unbiased opinion, considering an unbiased thing from people is maybe expecting too much from them. Even we are very biased people. Everybody is biased here. Somewhere tilted here and there. Let me tell you one more thing. We talk about bias, unbiased on the rules and regulation written on the ground, and the perception and the society what expect. What society expect, what rules and regulations are written, only talk about what minimum you can do. They never tell what maximum you can do. And there is a big difference what minimum you should do and what maximum you can do. And there is a big space for you to play. Everyone is like that. You are not faulted if you have not gone down below what is rules and regulation, that is minimum to be expected. But above that, what is maximum you can do, you can define. And there is a big thing, a big space available for everyone to play. And people do play in this. Despite following all rules and regulations, they still have bias. And I think at certain point of time, I say all biases are not incorrect and bad. We shouldn't be considering all bias incorrect and bad. Bias is always there. Unbiased opinion is very difficult. Everybody is different. They have different background, different understanding, therefore have different opinion, will do differently. And in this case, everywhere you are in the position, you might have seen your history. Everybody is seeing a history. Are we unbiased in all the transactions? Probably. In fact, no, we are not. So this is how human behavior, human interaction works. I'm not talking about what should happen. I'm talking about what happens. Happen is that this is how human interaction works. If you understand them, you play them better. If you think, no, it should happen that way only, then you probably go with that perception, but things will not work out that way. Most of the science is not about inventing new things. Most of the science is about discovering what is already given on this earth, on this world. So this is why I say the developing relationship is so important, because nobody is unbiased. There is a lot of things to play for everybody. Everybody has a place to work. Everybody has not bound with the rules and regulation all around. There are many places where you have to leeway to do things and your influence work greatly in that environment. Big places we have lobbyists, etc. So this is the core thing. And if you go in fundamentally, you will see developing relationship always helping. Why it is always helping? Because this works. And this is how people interact.
Vivek, there are two more possibilities here.
Yeah.
This situation.
Yeah.
That resource manager has the equal relationship with project manager 1 and 2.
Correct.
That could be possible. And the
Yes.
second possibility is project manager 1 and project manager 2 are very good close friends. They have a very good relationship.
Correct.
And they mutually may discuss and approach a resource manager.
Right.
So how that plays out?
That will be the fantastic. When project manager 1 and project manager 2 have good relationship, I think the problem is not between resource manager and project manager. It is between project manager and project manager 2, because they have a good relationship. They will work out a solution. So relationship help developing, resolving conflict much better than anything else.
Just I give you one idea here.
Yeah.
Actually, this very important that actually unbiased is highly preferable. And actually one resource person, actually a team of resource persons has to decide, not one resource person. This is a resource person is also backing, only a group of people are dealing with that, right? And giving the project 1 and 2, it is always better actually, as far as possible, unbiased way you should go actually. And actually, for the sake of the success of the project, and this should be unbiased. And actually, it should be a team decision, not a one resource person decision. Actually, one person decision. It must not be in reality.
I'm 100% agree with you, but what you are defining is what should happen. You're not defining what actually happens. I'm telling you, I'm trying to explain you that what actually happens. So let's move ahead. I think we have a difference of opinion. Maybe carry on. That will be maybe useful later also. And when resource manager have equal relationship, I think we have a resource manager has a tough time. So let's move from here. There are many permutation combination all around. Now I will focus more on how to identify the stakeholders. And I have worked out some questions we should ask before to identify these stakeholders. This is something like not addressed at many places, but I feel these questions normally have. We should ask who are intended beneficiaries of the project. Very common. I think we always do this. We try to find out. Many times we are not clear, but I think this is the most common question which we ask. But we also should ask who are the intended potential beneficiaries of the project. We should also look at it. Who are the unintended potential beneficiaries of it? I want to help somebody, but somebody else is also getting help. I have no intention, but he is a beneficiary, right? Look at this. Another question we should ask is, who are the people that may suffer losses due to project? You are building, I just thinking about, I was just looking about some one thing, that there is a railroad which was being constructed between two places which were disconnected, and there was a lake, or there was a big lake between them, and the railroad has to be connected, and all the transportation, all the passengers things happen through the boating. Now, if the railroad will be there, the boatmans, and they are big boatmans, actually, they're not small also, they're going to suffer losses because of this railroad. Though this railroad will bring lot of potential to this area, but there is somebody who's going to suffer, right? This is what we have to think about it. Look at this. There are a lot of these soft drinks, these companies like a Coca-Cola, Pepsi, wherever they build their plant, they dig the water from the their wells are much deeper and much stronger machines. They dry up the nearby fields. These now, earlier the people were not knowing, but now people knowing. If you're going there, you're going to if they're there, they're going to agitate against you, and you have to identify that. I was the Department of Atomic Energy is one of things. So wherever they go, they build nuclear plants. So nuclear plant, when the word nuclear comes, people started like fearing that, okay, if this blasted, we all will die, actually. So there is a different kind of politics is happening. So you might have seen a lot of agitations happen. We need to see that if somebody has get threatened, or some kind of losses, this person is going to happen. Many times we just ignore them as such. You look at this, the Tata plant got shifted from Shingur to Sadanand. A lot of people are losing job because of that. They not only lose the job, they lose the facility like medical, the schools which this factory was providing. Who are the people that may be at disadvantage due to this project? Now you shift it, these people are disadvantaged. They don't want you to shift. They want you to shift, but don't withdraw the facility. And that's what the Tatas did. They say, okay, we are going to withdraw the facility. The school will continue be there, and the medical facility will continue be there. And anybody want to move with the plant can go with the plant. Still their fear, still they feel that there could be some kind of agitation. They move their trucks only in the night, not in the daytime. You have to work on that. Many times we just skip these people, probably, and later we figure it out, but by that time the damage is already done. Who are the people we need to complete the project? Many times you go for the project, you need people, right? You need resources, and not all resources you hire. There are many resources who are on the ground, and you utilize them by paying on the side, by reciprocating their services, and many other ways. Not only your team, which you need for completing the project. Who are the people that have resources to complete the project? Some people are themselves resource, but some people have resources. They will not participate, but they can give you something which will help you to complete the project. And if there is anyone whose act or decision may impact the project unintentionally or intentionally also, but many times unintentionally, because we normally skip this. And there are many examples of this. There are many examples for this. Whenever, like I will tell you that one of the customer actually putting up a big plant for banana plantation, so exporting the banana plantation. Now, because they are big people, they have got they have got the permission to draw the water from the canal. Nobody actually realized that the small farmers around this whole area were also happy that they are building the banana plants. They're growing bananas here, and they will bring the canal water, because the canal water, when come to their field, it will water their field as well. And they are basically support this plant, and they say, okay, this is good. They're going to help this plant, and my client has an opportunity to use these people to help, to take the help of these people, create a kind, some kind of phenomena, some kind of things to mutual benefits. They will also get benefited, expand his facility to their fields as well. Many things can be possible. I actually put them in 4 quadrants, that there are supporters who get benefited intentionally or intentionally. There are opponents who are at a disadvantage because of this project. For example, you have built a banana plant. There could be your competitors who will think that it will put them in a disadvantage. They may do something which may not be in your favor as such. Contributors who are going to help in your project, and the enablers who will going to provide the resources to your project actually. What if the project is handled totally by software? PM1, PM2 enters their resources. Okay, I will come back to PM1, PM2 later. Let's maybe the question answer session. Let's continue with this. Okay, so this is how we actually complete, like I categorize these stakeholders. So first we identify by asking this question, who is the people? Identify those people. You have a long list of these people, and then categorize these people into this. Now this as such. Now I have this simple case study actually, and I just want to introduce you that if you can identify some stakeholders and can identify who are the enablers, who are the supporters, who are the opponents, and who are the resources actually for us. So it's a company, you consider your company, you are a project manager and who is going to build a 15 megawatt corporation has got the project, and these plants are useful because they consume the waste of the city, and it will reduce the number of waste dumping yards. It will reduce the waste getting into dumping yard, current dumping yard, or further dumping yard will not be required, right? Municipal corporation will provide land, necessary approvals, bio-waste, collect the bio-waste and provide to the plant. Your company is responsible for design, engineering, procurement, construction, and operate the plant for 1 year. Corporation has identified 3 locations, but because of some social issues, he has not zeroed down on one of the land, but in a month or 2, they will identify one land. New budget is a little higher because this was going on for some time, but whatever the budget they have approved so far, project can be started. Meanwhile, they can get more budget, right? The scope of the work is include the construction of the plant and operate the plant for 1 year, and construction has to be done in 1 year. And then after that 1 year, you have to run the plant. Many NGOs are continuously pushing and pursuing the corporation for fast tracking such kind of, because they want that this problem should be resolved, the waste problem. And so corporation want to get this plant manufactured, constructed as fast as possible. And if this power plant is successful, corporation may go ahead with such much more power plants. Now, my simple to you that can you identify some critical stakeholders in this whole, and who are the beneficiaries, intentional or unintentional, who will suffer losses and disadvantage, people who need to complete the project, who have the resources to complete the project. And if anybody who has to take the decisions and can we identify some stakeholders and put them as supporter, opponents, contributors, and enablers. I give you like 5 minutes to do this. Oh, I also start getting the responses. Very good. Okay, NGO supporters. Okay. You can type this in the chat box. I think that's a good way to, you can identify the stakeholder and can put this into the chat box. Okay. NGO is supporter, municipal corporation is enabler, company is the contributor. Okay. Identify some other stakeholder also, which are not clearly visible in the text. Identify those stakeholders also, which may not be written in the text, but they in the whole environment, it shows that how like if you want to read it again, you can read it again. It tells that who are the other stakeholders in this. That is most important thing. Actually, we see something is written in the text, but something is written between the line. If we can identify that thing, that what is written in the between the line, actually, that's more important. Supplier, banks, local communities, right? Financial institutes, okay, NBFC, who are financing the project. Yes, project required finance, and they will be required actually. Yes. Government, yeah, government come into picture actually. Possibly. Land authorities, environment departments, people around the actual site who are not happy with this initiative. Quite possible. The people where this plant is going to happen, the people normally have fear that waste is coming, and that's a nuisance actually, right? That's what happened when the dumping ground, around dumping ground also. People do start agitating whenever there is a ground selected for dumping and say, no, you cannot. The same thing can happen with the waste management plant because waste is arriving and the way waste is carried out, especially in India, it may not be a very clean method. And you may having something like falling around as such. So people may oppose this thing because they think that they are getting inversely impacted by this. Project team, enablers, corporations, your management, yes, NGOs. Environmental department, yes, is also a stakeholder and quite powerful also. Owners of identified lands, neighbors will be opposing. Possibly the owners may be opposing or may not oppose because many times government give a couple of like 2 or 3 or 4 times the cost the land normally have, as the current rule says. So it may not be opposing, but it may be opposing also, but just they want to bargain. Local people are opponents who are opposing the project, possibly, because they are not against the bioplant, but they are against the nuisance that bioplant will bring. Beneficiaries will be farmers. I'm not so sure that farmers are so will be connected because this biocompost, I think the corporation's headache actually to dispose this and make a deal with the farmers to give. So it may be, if it is not well managed by corporation, it may become a problem actually. Social group and societies who are agitating, yes. But some people who are talking about dumping ground not to be removed, they may be supporting this actually. So suppose the corporation strategy could be like that. So, okay, we remove the dumping ground and put up a waste management plant. So the people who are like agitating against the dumping ground probably maybe settle down with the waste management plant, biogas plant. Quite possible. Yeah. Good. I think we have a good list. So let's move on. Police can also come into picture. Yeah, I think police, wherever people come into picture, police also come into picture. TV channels, they enjoy actually life. I don't know how much they get impacted, but they enjoy life around all those controversies. Good. I think we have good findings. The people, like city people living in the city may be happy with that their waste will be managed well. Where the waste is where the plant is going, their people around may not be very comfortable with this actually. But the people around dumping grounds, they may welcome this move. So different people, local politicians will get into this because people get discomfort or comfort. The politicians actually try to take advantage. So they may get into this kind of they start their politics actually. So good findings as such. We will look into these things further as such. Now it is we have stakeholders, we get some information about them. We know how they actually behave. Then we have a stakeholder analysis matrix. I think these things are quite common. Most of the people know that we have to find out people with their power and the interest. Normally very simple. If you look at my definition of who is dependent on whom project is dependent. So the person who is dependent on the project is basically interested in project. And the person on whom the project is dependent is actually very powerful. You can, very simple definition, you can put more the dependency is more the power. More the person dependent on the project, more the interest is. So like you can say the corporation is definitely very powerful because we're going to provide the funds, but also very interested because that is one of the success criteria and very much depends upon their future outcome, what the path, the way of it will set the future corporation. The NGOs will be very much interested actually. They may not be having powerful, but may be interested, but they may be having some power because they can influence the corporation people as such. Right? So we can consider these people and can analyze these matrix. Not only this, but I think there is an engagement matrix also. There is an engagement matrix also where we say that we need to look at this, how the people are like current engagement. What is the current engagement of the person and what engagement we want? So for example, a vendor, suppose in this project required a lot of procurement, right? And there will be some critical vendor which this company will be looking for to supply some specific machine or material for this. And that vendor may not be knowing altogether that this plant is coming up. So what this person has to do that, okay, call a meeting with the vendor, inform him that this is the project which they have won, they're going to start this project. Then look at what kind of thing. So make aware this vendor and see that what is his concern, what is the problem, how he can support us, and then see that he form a strategy so that the vendor will end up supporting him. If he can put these strategies to every stakeholder supporting him, you can see the wonder is going to happen, though it's going to be very difficult and it may not happen. But if you make all the stakeholders supporting you, I think you become a champion actually. You will be enjoying the life. But the thing is that it may not happen. Some people will remain little resistance or may not be very favorable to you because of their basic nature or because of their current situation in the project. But if we take care of their concern, probably we can reduce their resistance as such. We have to see that. Now, how to build relationships is all that we have identified, we analyze, we plan for them. then we engage, and then we develop the relationship. And let me tell you, this whole thing is not about how to engage the stakeholder in the project. That is one of the things we have to do. My current discussion is only based on how to develop relationship, because I feel by developing relationship, you can better engage the stakeholder in the project and get better benefit. Now, one thing which is very, very important in planning. So we have identified, we have analyzed, we have to plan. Now, to plan it out, the one thing which is most important is what's in it for me. I think somebody told about this in the beginning when I asked that why relationship is important. We need to, this is the biggest question we should understand. This will rationalize the people's action, their bias, not doing what they're supposed to do, not doing what should be done. This is all about. And I will say, this is right actually. Who will think, if I cannot think about what's in it for me, then who will think about it? So every stakeholder in your project is thinking what's in it for me, and that's the basis for action. And probably that may be the only background thing which is actually driving the action. We do not have many people who have a holistic objective. They look for like larger good, who act in larger good. We get those people, but they are very less in numbers. Most of the people work for what's in it for me. Let's see how it works. When you plan the stakeholders, prepare a stakeholder register and see that you are doing this. First is identify each stakeholder by name, not by his role or not by his agency. Like we say company, we say police. In this condition, it is okay, right? Because we don't know the name of those people. But in your project, you cannot say company, you cannot say municipal corporation, you cannot say people, you cannot say, you have to pick up the person. If you are getting an approval from the government organization, government agency, that environmental department is not the stakeholder. The stakeholder is at the person who is going to sign on your paper or who will approve your project on paper. That is the person who is actually the stakeholder. Your strategy will change if this person changes. Your strategy will change if this person changes. Environment department will remain the same, but strategy will change. So we need not to identify XYZ officer. We have to identify who is at that office. Who is the officer? If I need some help from somebody, suppose NGO, who is the head of the NGO? Who is the most influential person in NGO? That is the stakeholder. I want to influence that person because that means NGO. For example, many times we say people don't resign because of the company, they resign because of their manager. Because manager is company for the person. So who is the stakeholder, company or manager? No, company is not the stakeholder. The manager is the stakeholder who represent the company. If manager is good, company is good. This is not 100% right, but for many things, this is right. So we need to identify each stakeholder with the name. We have to be clarified, clearly. Many times we are not clear what we want from what he or she wants from the project or us. What we want from him or her. Whether project depend upon him or he on the project. Like earlier I said, look at the who is dependent, who is interested, who is powerful. Is there any hidden agenda? Now, let me come back to this again. As I said, I'm going to be tactful continuously. Many times we feel hidden agenda is something bad. I do not consider that. I think hidden agenda is a part of the life. What is a hidden agenda? Everybody has it. Everybody has some agenda in some place. Somebody can tell because it is easy to tell, and there is nothing wrong in telling. But many times that what agenda you have, you cannot tell it to 10 people. Does that mean you should not have that agenda? So many times what happens, there is a legitimate agenda you should have, but you cannot tell it to 10 people. What will happen? This will remain the agenda, but it is hidden. And that's true with every other person also. Very important part of this is that we should always look for, you can manage, you can build relationship with the person if you find the hidden agenda, because that is the motive of that person. And if I take care of that hidden agenda in my strategy, if I take care of his concern, which is coming because of that hidden agenda, I think I will get a satisfied customer stakeholder on my project. I remember one person actually, that he was telling that, okay, to me that the project was at peak, it was running for 6 months and about to deliver. And he was telling that, Vivek, I have a team lead and who is actually at this peak time when we have to work like much more than what we are normally doing. He keep looking at the clock when he has to go home back. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I have to go home. He has no interest in the project. I say, very good. That's quite possible. But tell me one thing, is this person very critical for the project? Yes, he's a team lead. If he's not working, who will work then? You say, he was so critical for the project. Tell me in last 6 months, what you have done for him? Have you done something for him? Have you taken care of this person's need? Or do you even know what is his needs? Or can a team lead tell its need to his manager openly? You will be team, you also reporting to your boss. Are you in the position to tell everything to your boss very transparently, and boss will be very happy to hear all these things? It is the boss who is skilled to find out what the person want actually. If this person is so critical, you would have identified. If the project is so dependent on this person, then in last 6 months, we should have identified what this person want, what this person's aspirations are, where he want to go. Can you help him to go there? If you can help him to go there, he will not be looking at the clock, he will be looking at the project. Because you don't care for him, he doesn't care for the project. What's wrong in this? So hidden agendas are not as bad as we feel. In fact, there is nothing bad about hidden agenda. We just get surprised because we don't bother about it. Therefore, we feel a little bit bad about it. If we anticipate this, if this happens, I think we should be happy and we should be proactively knowing what is the hidden agenda of the different people in the project, what they really want, which they cannot speak out. I simply say hidden agenda is something which you can speak out, which you can't speak out, but you have, and you cannot give it up. And it's absolutely fine. Develop a strategy to build relationships. Now, this will, as I said, you know the hidden agenda, you know that what they want, they are dependent. Now you can build a strategy to build relationships. Again, don't consider you are Superman or you are the final authority. Please discuss this with the close group. It cannot be discussed in the open group, but you should have some confidant around you who will be actually can discuss and can advise you or can gives their views and can help refining this whole plan. This is important actually. Don't keep it with you only and everything dependent. If you are right, then you're right. If you're wrong, none. Take the other people's opinion. No, may not be everyone's, but there will be some few. How to develop relationship? When we say develop relationship, it's not about formal. That formal relationship anyway is there. and it is going to work. It will work there. You can make it more effective, definitely, but formal relationship will never be so effective as the informal relationship is. That's my personal experience, and that's my understanding from understanding various projects, thinking various projects and analyzing various project failure and the successes, how they succeed and how they fail. The informal relationship, there is nothing which can be as effective as informal relationship. And that's what I was actually trying to explain in the beginning, that why we should have relationship. We should go beyond project. First of all, just sticking to the project is not sufficient, is grossly insufficient, I would say. Identify or generate networking opportunity. Identify networking opportunity. If they are not, generate. Don't say, I don't have any networking opportunities. Network does wonder. More people you know, better you can do your project. More peaceful life you have in your project. More helping hand you have in your project. Participate in activities which are not project activities, which are organization initiatives, which are HR initiatives, which are some improvement things, which are helping organization or other groups or overall organization to grow. Just don't stick to your project. If you stick to your project, we call that is Koopmandu. That is the frog of the well. You cannot go beyond this wells, and therefore you don't know how the life actually out of this. Our life is very beautiful around beyond this well. Actually. So just don't stick to your project. It's not going to help. Now, many stakeholders may not be very actively participating in these activities. You have to pursue them, call them, bring them, invite them, pursue them. If you have to interact with some CFO or some CIO or some kind of this vice president, you can go as a volunteer for such kind of initiative, inviting him for participating in this. There are two benefits. One is you get the opportunity to interact with the vice president or any senior person in that sense. Plus, you can invite him, you can pursue him. You have the right to go to him at least 3 times to pursue him. That you please come and contribute in this. Your people like you are required in this project. And if he comes and he sign up for this project, you and him is going to work together on this project. There is a relationship building without any context of any project. In fact, you probably may not know that you ever need this person for any project. Why? Because it takes time to develop. Many people have said it takes time to develop relationship, develop in advance. So critical people, a lot of people, if you go and participate in such activities, you interact with many people. All those people may not be immediately required to you, but they will be useful to you in future, and some project you never know, but you are building a good network around you. Nothing can beat this. Better network. The problem with the people in service, especially doing jobs, is that they are not very open to networking. Do this, otherwise you're in a tough time, nobody is going to help you out. If you want some people to help you in tough time, please do this. Build relationship. Talk to businessmen what they do actually. They know without networking, their business is not going to, they just look for opportunities. They've spent a lot of time in building the networks, in building relationship with other people, because that's how it works. The X person can go to business to anyone, everybody's priority, but I have a relationship, he will give it to me. Now, somebody will say it's not fair. No, it's not fair. He also has to get the job done, right? Develop informal relationship is beyond office work. You just take it. I'm talking about developing relationship beyond formal relationship. I'm not talking about that. Will, if you can develop informal relationship, I can guarantee you will develop definitely very strong formal relationship. And I'm really not focusing on that. I don't really need that. I'm focusing on how you can build a relationship, how you can build a bandwidth, how you can talk to this person without talking about the project, without talking about the work, without talking about anything else, just as a friend. Develop, build friends, build friends. More friends you have in the organization, better your projects will be. Better, you even get better projects. People will pull you. If people will leave the organization, they will pull you to the other organization. You come over here. Okay, we need you because you are the helping hand. Right? And few things which are timeless, I think. I will say timeless principles for human bonding. Don't forget them. And the first and the foremost is offer help. How to build relationship? Offer help. First thing, inviting people in the networking, in the other things, building things, all take time. The quickest thing you can develop relationship is by offering help. You offer help today, tomorrow he's your friend. Just offer help in whatever situation you are. Also seek help. Offering help is a much better, much faster, but seeking help also provide. It give an indication, give a message to the other person that you are important for me. You have something important which I need. You are increasing the importance of the person. Don't compete with the people. Collaborate with them. So help and seek help. Don't compete. Don't do too much. Don't say, okay, you are there, I'm also there. No, so I'm not there. I need your help. You are there. Okay. Oh, I need your help. I'm not there. I with your help, I can reach there. Okay. This is how it is. Right. I'm not competing with them. I don't try to prove you better than the other person. You say, no, I'm actually not better. You are better. So help me to become better. No, you respect the other person in that. You collaborate, you seek his help. Okay, help me to become better. You to give him more weightage to this person. Build better relationship. Demand less, request more. Don't demand. Say, can you give it? Please do this. And can you do this? I say just two sentences, right? Please do this. Do this. And can you do this? I think all three have same meaning, but it makes a lot of difference how you present it. There's no difference. When boss says do this or can you do this, there is no different meaning. It's just that the second sentence make the person feel better. Meaning is same. Meaning is not different. When boss says please do this or can you do this, you have to do it actually, basically. But you feel better when the boss says that can you do it better? Can you do it for me, please? So request more and demand little less. Be assertive, argue little less. Don't argue. I say argue and compete, they go together. So don't match the performance with the if other person says I'm better than you, you say okay, you are better. Can you help me? I become better. Okay. Don't argue. Don't try to prove that you are right and he's wrong. If he says he's right, you prove that he's right and you are wrong, and he can help you making you right. This maybe sometimes maybe you feel discomfort, but this works wonder. He will not disrespect you. He will respect you that you are seeking his help. You just try it out. Try this out. Seek to understand their world. Understand where they are, what they do, where they are, what kind of things are there. You probably have several things where you help them out and you can offer help to them. Look for how you can help them. And wherever possible, praise genuinely. I will say, don't put praise is good, but I'm in favor of artificial praise. I'm talking about genuine praise. Find out something praiseworthy and praise. Maybe small praise. Don't make big praise for the small things, but praise, I will say. Appreciate their efforts. Tell them that you are doing a wonderful job. And I'm sure this will help building all these things some way. Not all these things need to be done. Some of them, if you can do in a particular situation, is more than enough. I will open this for the question and answers. I think we have left with very less time. Sorry if I've taken a lot of time, but I'm open for the question and answers.
Yes, I have one question from my end, Sandeep here. So the key takeaway here was, to build the relationships, try to build informal relationships. For a project, there would be so many stakeholders. So should it be looked at this way? If you look at the power interest grid, the one which is on the top right corner, the people who are in that specific grid should be the ones who should be prioritized first to build that informal relationship, because you cannot build relationship with every stakeholder per se. You have to prioritize. So is it wise, or is it right to say that that's the first set of people with whom you will try to build informal relationship, and then you will move to the other set?
Okay, I go to the previous slide and now tell you that, first of all, let's do not tell that we cannot have relationship with every stakeholder. I say you can have relationship with every stakeholder, each and every one. Second thing. So remove from your mind that you cannot have relationship with everyone. You can have relationship with everyone, even with the people who are not a stakeholder in your project.
Okay.
Second thing, you says the people who manage closely, the top quadrant, high power, high interest, will they be selected as a stake for building relationship? I think we are too late, actually. We are too late. We are already in the project. We need them. And now you start building relationship. You will be getting their support in next project, not on this project.
Okay.
Okay. So what is the message here? The message here is building relationship is not based on project. It's a continuous process. You have to build whomsoever you interact with building relationship with this person, and try to find out who are important people in the organization, outside organization, how you can have relationship with them, irrespective of whether they are a stakeholder on your project, today's project, right? Whether they are stakeholder of today's project or not. Because if they are already a stakeholder in project, it takes time to build relationship. It is already too late. And people are very smart, actually. Even the poorest to poorest person is very smart. He understands that you need him, and you try to develop relation. He needs, okay, calm say something. Then you need something like you are not actually interested in making me friend, but actually you need me. That's why you have come. So I think the person becomes a stakeholder on our project. We already having some kind of relationship with them. That is the best scenario. But current scenario may not match with that. But if we keep doing this on a regular basis, it is an everyday task actually. Then you will find that whenever you go into the project, at least internal people, all you know, and that's what happens actually, right? Whom becomes CEO, COO of the organization. Well, most of the people know him, right?
Yeah, certainly. So just a very quick follow-up question. So will then it would be wise to say that instead of thinking about building the relationships, be truthful, be wise, be respectful to everyone who is around you, be respectful to everyone. And that should be a way of living life, because then you're not thinking about any benefit for you. You are basically treating people the right way. You're being ethical in your conduct. Wouldn't that automatically help you to build the relationships?
Yeah. Then you will get better projects actually in that way. because people will love you and they will give you better projects. They will pick you for the project, for managing their projects. Also, yes, that is how it is.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question?
Yes, over to you, Kalyan.
Okay. So Vivek ji, as usual, has highlighted upon the people aspect. I think as project managers, we have been too much bogged by our theories and our axioms which we learn in our books, the theory part of it. But what he has highlighted here exactly is the dynamic nature of our lives, where human relationships matters, how you have to be connected to people. So the various examples which he talked about, I could relate to many of them. Many cases where the initial discussion around project manager 1 versus 2, I was reminded of my initial days as a project manager, how I struggled. Then I learned how to navigate these difficult channels. How do you build relationships with the key people? So those were all good insights which he gave. And the last example where he talked about you need to build relationships with every stakeholder. uh, I understand the concern where people are coming from is, given the duration of the project, how do I ensure that I have equitable time to all stakeholders? Yeah, so let us appreciate that you may not be able to give equitable time, but the question is the quality of that relationship. Some people you may connect really faster, you may be able to build quickly. Some people you may have to invest more time. So that is how the human nature is. Now, the idea for us here is to understand how, as humans, whatever theory we talk about, finally success of a project depends upon people whom we are managing as project managers. I think that is a very valid session today, which was picked up by Vivek. I definitely benefited. I could recollect some of those things, and I'm available for any follow-up discussions if anybody likes. Um, but I really thank Vivek for his time and sharing his very valuable experiences here in this session. And I hope all of you also equally enjoyed. And we encourage all of you to participate more. And I think we should reiterate, Ketanji, that our invite is still open, right, for what we talked last time about real life project experiences. Do people want to bring their experiences about COVID and post COVID, what you had talked about? What has been the response till now? Ketanji, KG, do you want to add about that? Has anybody responded to that open request which we had put up last month?
No, I think because of the March year end, couple of people indicated that they were busy in completing some of the projects.
Okay. So
So
I believe that invite is still
we
open,
can
right?
open up one
Our
more
invitation
time.
is still open to people to
Yeah.
come forward.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, we should open up one more time, and let's see whoever can come on the board and can share their experience.
So these are all real life experiences which we talk about. So that's what matters, and that I think is all of you are well experienced and veterans here to understand those things. That's what we want to highlight and share benefits to all of you.
Yeah, I think that will be good if we can get some people and help and they share their experience during COVID and what innovative work they have done. I think I'm sure that a lot of people have done a lot of innovative work actually, find out different ways of doing things. Right.
Mr. Praveen, just consolidate myself. I will joining late in the sense building relationship in the environment we are put in. Actually, we explain in excellent way. The keywords actually informal relations, networking, timeless, understanding, employment, it means environment and management people actually be assertive, actually demand less, doing more. All these things you explained very well, actually, right? In management point of view, and at the same time, actually, the environment we are in, the politics we are in, actually taking the example of nano and other things, right? Actually, government changes, policies will changes. Actually, this is what present democracy in India is. Actually, that is why we are backward comparing with all other nations. Actually, developing nations, small countries are doing extraordinary way. Big country are doing very poorly. Actually, excellent way presented, sir. Actually, I really congratulate you. Actually, and actually, because I disconnected all of a sudden my phone, I could not participate. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. In fact, I wanted to touch the political part also, but in the interest of time, I left that. Probably next time when we'll talk about the political aspect also, because it's in this situation, whole situation is quite political.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kalyan, and thank you, Ketan, for organizing this. And good. So thank you everyone for taking out time and being here and listen to me for like 1.5 hours. And we look forward for you in the next session. And I think join us on our WhatsApp group, on our Facebook group. And we'll send out an email to you and you can join these groups.
Thank you.